G'day guys, it's 10 in the evening and I have been working away as per usual. Got some goss. You want some goss? Everyone in the detector community loves a bit of gossip. The gossip at the moment, which I've got from a couple of sources, is about this new Minelab detector coming out. Now, as far as I know, and we'll have to say this is an opinion piece based on what people have told me in hearsay. Okay, so yeah, if it comes true, it comes true. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Okay, this new detector is basically, in my opinion, and from all the hearsay, well, I'll give you the hearsay. First of all, it was spotted being tested in Wedderburn in Victoria, and from what the hearsay says about it, right? Okay, I'm not going to go on with that, but I was going to say this is just an opinion piece and a bit of gossip I've heard. So the truth of it be what it is. Okay, it is basically supposed to be a 7000, but it's made to be lighter than the standard 7000. So I don't know how that occurs, considering the structure of the coil for a start. Maybe they've taken a leaf out of X coils or something and got away from all the heavy potted resins and things. But anyway, you'll find out, or maybe not. Depends. Yeah. So this is what I've been told. It's a lightened version of the 7000, and it's going to come out with a price tag of around $15,000. If there's any truth to that, that is a bit of a interesting one. So when this comes out, and if it does come out, it's meant to come out at the Minelab Dealers Conference, which is just over a little bit over 2 months away or something of that nature. So this is what I've heard anyway. It's basically along the lines of the 7000. It's probably the same performance. Maybe they've just modernized a few things. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Yeah. But yeah, I've heard from two sources, 15 grand, 14,999 or something, will be the price. And if it does come out, and maybe because I said that, they'll make it 16 grand, or maybe they'll make it 14 grand. I don't know. But these things happen. The other thing of interest too, that this is probably not much of interest, but I'll tell you a funny story. You can go read the funny story yourself if you want. It's on the Coil Tech website in the blog, and it's about it's the last blog in there about intruders and chasing the intruders and finding a big nugget. Anyway, you can read the story. It's on the Coil Tech website under the blogs, and something about intruders. Anyway, the story went in its original format. That the fellow was, it's written in there, he was using a GPX 45 detector, and in his story he wrote GPX 45 detector that had been modified by Detectormods. So that was said in the story, and he was using a Coil Tech Coil, whatever. You can read the story, like I say, and yeah, and they cut the Detectormods modded 45 out of the story. He said that was in his story, the original, and they cut him out. So anyway, the thing was that he entered this competition, and that was I know this story to be true, by the way. It happened a while ago, but it is. He found a 6-ounce nugget anyway. Goes into detail about finding this. No, sorry, 6 ounce, 13 ounce. Sorry, 13. Um, so he found a 13-ounce nugget. Anyway, read the story. And anyway, they purposely omitted that the detector was modified, and it was done by us. Thank you, Coil Tech. Yes, we know what side your bread's buttered. So yeah, so there's no clunk. That was just a detector case falling over in the background. Yeah, I wasn't. I'm not too perturbed about it, but when I was told that the story had been edited, that it was quite amazing. But in the story, it still says the Coil Tech coil, right? So they didn't edit the type of coil out. They just didn't edit out the 45, but they did edit out that the detector had been modified by Detectormods. So there you go. Um, you're not going to get past me, I tell you. But yeah, like you do stuff like that. Well, I'm going to make mention of it because I think that's a bit disingenuous. Maybe because they're like this with Minelab, that they took all the modified business out, so Minelab wouldn't give them a side eye or something like that, whatever. But anyway, that's true story. Yeah, I won't say who wrote it because he hasn't put his name on it, and it's probably a good thing because everyone will be up where he lives looking for a 13-ounce nuggets or whatever. But anyway, um, I'll leave it there. What else was there? Something else. Now I can't remember what it was. See, I distracted myself. Yeah. Okay. Well, what have I got here? This is interesting. This is a detector. Oh, look at this. I don't know if I can zoom in on that. Yeah, I'll pick it up because it's been through the wars. Oh, look how dirty it is. Oh, dear. I'm not going to say who owns it, but this is a detector that we modified years and years and years ago. I don't know how many years ago. My God, this is a long time back because I've been dealing with the owner for ages. God, we're going back to doof doof days. But anyway, um, yeah, it's been kicking around for a while. Anyway, what it is, it's 5,000, and it looks like it's been hit with the excavator or something like that. Anyway, that was not the problem as far as I know. The problem was that it started misbehaving, and the guy said it sounded like it had a blown a blown front end, right? Anyway, this one here has variable gain in the detector. You can see the extra knob here, and I fixed the detector for him, and all it was a damping resistor that was starting to go open, closed, and all over the shop. Changing value was causing a lot of noise, and I think it went to failure mode, and the whole thing desensitized. Of course, it can't handle all that voltage and all that hang from the back EMF hanging around the receiver input because it's not decaying away. And the poor old receiver goes, "Oh God, I'm basically up against the top limit of my range, and I can't make any more noise." So yeah, it was in between all states. Anyway, that's fixed. It was a tricky one to find actually because it wouldn't do it all the time. Anyway, apart from that, I've completely this is for the guy who owns this. This is for you. That I've completely redone the whole variable gain input stage scaling on this for you, and because I know what sort of gold you're after, and this now will basically you can run it in mono under electrical storm. you can adjust it that far down, and you can crank it right up like hell. That if you're in the middle of nowhere, and I've already tested the ground balance, it's absolutely beautiful on full gain. So to give anyone an idea, we're running. I've rescaled the whole thing. I can't actually work. Oh yes, I can. Hang on. Input stage is running at plus 10 dB. Then we are throwing that into the VGA, which is set to bring that down, to minus 10, all the way up to plus 30. But we've already got the 10, so the top range is 40, which is quite substantial. Most of these come out, and I think they're about 30 dB. So you got an extra 10 dB top end. And we've gone down to basically a zero gain situation. So you got a massive range there, and you'll be able to work anything with this. This will just eat anything you throw at it, and basically, like I say, if you have you could put a massive big mono on it. If you're looking for really big stuff, like a big drag coil, and it'll be quiet as a mouse, just as a mono, and definitely will respond to a large target. And because the gain can be set so low, it's not even going to peep on things like little bullet heads and stuff like that, or anything of that nature. You can set it that low; it's not going to beep on them, as even if the core wire goes over it, basically. But big targets, it depends how much gain you're going to run. You can also vary the frequency on this too. So it basically will do everything you throw at it. This is done in a way that is going to work really good. So it's super low noise too, very, very low noise. We're pushing the limits on the low noise end, and also on the gain end. So absolutely, yeah. Even full gain, high frequency, everything, it'll work with a double D in fine gold mode, which is extremely difficult. We've done some other stuff to alleviate the descents that you would normally get. So you can run old coils on it. So it will work with old coils, preferably round ones, not elliptical ones. Elliptical ones are a compromise coil. As I keep telling everybody, they actually are. If you can run rounded coils, you're absolutely ahead of the game. And if you need to run ellipticals, use a small mono. That's the way it should be. Yeah, well, I can give you a demo of this if you want. Do you want a demo of it? I can actually stick the back board in and give it a kick. How about I do that? So, seeing's believing, I put all the screws there. I've got to move those. Get rid of those. Bring this here. I'm going to run this on the double D, just because it's. I'll show you in mono, by the way, as well, because a lot of people tend to want to still use monos, but they want to be near big electrical. Well, in Victoria and probably everywhere else, a lot of the big high tension wires, I'm talking the big, huge things, 220 kV, go through goldfields or goldfield areas. I know around a place called Bright that the high tension wires and a lot of the high country high tension wires go across the top of some of the small mountain ranges, hills, whatever. And those areas are gold bearing, and you can't get in there for PI because the 220 kV drives it crazy. You've got to go to cancel mode. But I'd say with this, you'll be able to run it in mono. So anyway, I'll just make sure it's turned down. I left it in high frequency, so I'll turn it on. I'll give it some audio. I'll let it stabilize. Now, what's it in? It's so dirty, I can't even read it. So There we go. Oh, it's running in mono. It's not in cancel mode or anything. It's on it's on that. There you go. I'll move that back, but it's on that coil there, and I'm running it as a mono. So, oh, like I say, I'm running it as a mono. Rings come in handy for test targets. So, yeah, yeah. So that's on basically the gain wound right back, but it's actually running in here as a mono, and as you can tell, it's dead quiet. And it's also on running in fine gold too at the moment. So if I actually get it out of fine gold, stick it into normal mode, it'll give more of a decent response probably. That's what I mean. You can do what you want with it. Gain wise, you can probably crank it up, but like I say, it's running as a mono, so it's going to get noisy. So even on a small point one, it'll work. I'll put it into cancel if I can see it. So now it's in cancel mode, and it's just ghostly quiet. Yeah. So and there's so much more gain to get out of it. I mean, if you can see this thing, but the coil's there. Oh, just get the coil and the detector there, like. Give you an idea of how much gain this has got. That even in the workshop, this coil is not perfectly balanced. They never are. You can't have the exact same physical windings on each side of the coil, so it will unbalance, and the damping is different anyway. So it's all over. With a double D, I'm not going to be so nasty to call it a compromise coil. It has its place, but they aren't as good as they can be. If you made a double D coil properly, it won't be like that. And the detector electronics won't support it because you'll need dual damping. So otherwise it's going to be mismatched. And as soon as you've got a mismatch, the noise comes through. So, even in normal mode, like that's on a 0.05, by the way. And in normal mode, let's get the gain up a bit. I've got a fairly decent sized capacitor across. That's getting up pretty high in gain. We'll use a 0.1. You just can't use it inside the workshop. It's just too much electrical noise. But out in the goldfields, it should be really good. So anyway, that's the story of that. So, Mister, yeah, you know who you are, because your detector is very distinctive. I don't think you can get that wrong. Who owns that? If anyone knows the guy too, you probably know as well. But yeah, that's that. So that's going really well. So yeah, it was like I say, it was just a repair, but I gave him a bit of a tune up as well. So that's pretty good going. Yeah, so I was going to give it the reassembly work. I think I probably should. Tell you what, though, I reckon it has been hit with a dozer or something. Excavator. Oops, nearly showed the name. But great big, there's a deep gouge on this detector right there. Nearly cut my fingers on it. It's actually like a razor blade. It's been whacked. I reckon it's been hit by something very. You think a pick would do that? I reckon it's been. By looking at the way this is, I reckon it's been tapped by an excavator, or maybe got slightly run over or something by an excavator. But yeah, I don't like that there. It's very sharp, and it is gonna cut. Look, bloody hell. There you go. It can't bite anymore. It's the joy of having alloy cases. So yeah, I say it is a 5, but it's been through the war. Yeah, I don't know if the way everything's set up at the moment, if you can even get a front panel for these. I'm not sure what's going on with the state of affairs with spare parts. After you know what has happened, I'm not going to say exactly what has happened. You know what I mean about um, dealerships turning into non-events, things like that. The rumor mill runs hard and fast. I tell you, it really does. I don't want to go and talk about people's private business. It is, but it's not. But I'm not going to mention it. Um, no, I'm not going to. It would make a great discussion, and you would probably think, "Wow, right?" But no, I can't do that. Sorry, makes a good gossip piece, but nah, can't go there. Apart from what else is happening? What else is happening? Um, Not much. Well, yes. And I just looked on the bench again, and there's more detectors in again. So yeah, um, we've been flat out. I'm not joking. How many detectors we've done? Uh, David's under the pump making coils, big drag coils and batteries, um, and you can find our batteries in various detector dealer shops. Some, some, some not. Some I just will not supply to. They are on my banned list, and some. Well, put it this way: if people are selling our batteries, which we build in their detector shops, um, I would say that they are very, very honest, good, nice people, right? And the ones that don't, um, they probably just don't know our batteries exist. Um, and some, see, this is my get out of jail free card, and some will never get them in a million years. So just leave it there. You know, the ears. I hear what's said, and if you want to be mouthy and a smart ass, you will not be supplied anything from me. I don't care. So we've had that in the past. People who don't know me, people who don't know anything what we do, start going blah 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 to people, and it just comes back. And I'm very grateful that it comes back because I just know who is a absolute. Um, just use a 4-letter word in there, and yeah, get stuffed. To say it, say it mildly. There you can put any 4-letter word in there you want. You can think of the worst one there is, and stick that in there, and I'll agree with you. So yeah, there's absolute all sorts in this industry. Most people I deal with, I've found to be very very nice. There's always the odd fruit cake, because that just goes in the mix, doesn't it? Um, even if you go through life trying to avoid fruitcake, you're going to get served some at Christmas. Okay, it's the same thing applies. There's some absolute nutters out there and all sorts of weirdos, but most of the people I deal with, I found to be fine. I could put in some exceptions, um, and you'll probably know who you are, or you might not know who you are because you just don't realise that you are obnoxious, um, or something like that. No, I'm just joking. Most people I deal with are fine. I've never had any hassles. Um, well, I have, but it's It's not personality. I remember. I remember. I'm going to say this. The person will know that because he watches this. I know he does. Um, he uh, he cracked the wobbly because what happened is I was testing his detector, and when I put it back together, when I was testing, I went out the like in the bush, local bush. I put 2 screws in the front, 2 screws in the back to hold it together because I knew I was going to have to do something and scale it, so I had to pull it apart again, right? And I went out and I tested the detector, and it worked fine. And I forgot to put the screws back in it, right? It's held together with 2 screws. And it went back to him like that. I just didn't realize. And I didn't look on the bench and go, oh, gee, I've got, 8 screws or something, or 10 screws left over. Well, no, 8 screws left over. And I just didn't realize. And yeah, he thought I was taking the, PISS out of him. And yeah, this is even worse, right? He sent it back, and he said something about some gain component or something or other about it. And I got it back, and I pulled it apart again, and I just did some adjustment, which he was saying that it could have more gain. I think he wanted more gain, or it was too much or something, whatever it was. This is years ago, but it's quite funny. Anyway, I took it out in the bush, and I put the 2 screws getting right. I took it out the bush up the road, and I tested it. And as far as I could tell, it was working fantastic. It was really, really good. And I'm not joking. I sent it back to him without the screws in it again, and he went ballistic. And he was not happy. He really thought I was taking the what out of him, and it really arced up. And if you've ever watched Braveheart, you'll get the gist of it. Okay, it's just something that is people from a certain part of the world that you don't want to rib up too much because they go nuts. So yeah, he went nuts. He did. He went nuts. Anyway, I think he ended up on the doorstep, and I put the screws in it for him. But anyway, ah dear, the things you do. It's happened. It's happened once or twice that yeah, I've left the screws out because you're sort of doing lots of jobs and things, and because of things together, you think it's together. Now I double check to make sure the screws are in things. It's just it's one of those things. It's not going to fall apart. It's not going to. The detector's not going to not work. It's not like taking your car to the mechanic and he leaves the bolts out of the cross member and your bloody transmission falls out. It's not that bad, but it really got up this guy's nose. Oh dear me. Yeah, I'm just recalling the accent. Anyway, enough said. I think it's funny. I hope you think it's funny too, because thought it was funny. Apart from that, no, nothing much. I've upset everybody with my thing I did with coils, and I haven't upset a lot of people too. I've I've upset some, and I've upset. Uh, yeah, yeah, I'd say I'll probably just upset the commercial people and people who bought new coils. But there's someone he's actually had one of his detectors done by us, but he's a real into it coil person, and he's rebuilding coils, and he's just ripped them apart. He's ripped apart basically fairly expensive commercial coils. I won't say branding or anything at this. I've got a picture library of what he sent me, and it's really, really interesting. Of what's in some of the coils and how they're done, and even okay, if you want a real education on coils, go on to say Chat GPT or Gemini or Grok or any of those, and get onto one of the really smart in-depth modes, and ask it, how do I make a exceptional pulse induction metal detector coil, right? And observe what is said and think about what is said. If you understand it, what's being said, and you open up a coil, a lot of commercial coils, you'll say that shouldn't be like that, or something of that nature. It's let the AI tell you and teach you from all the research and information it can get worldwide and condense it and tell you the story about detector coils in general. But if you specifically say pulse induction detector coil, right, uh, you can actually tell it. You can measure your coil. You can actually measure, say, all the parts. If you know what you're doing, you can measure, like, you can disconnect bits and you can measure shield to coil structure, capacitance. You can measure the inductance, Q factor, self-resonant frequency. You can measure all this and you can shove it into the AI and say, how do I improve this? And it will tell you. It'll say, no, this shouldn't be done this way. It should be done that way, and all this sort of stuff. And the funny thing is, because I know it's absolutely dead spot on. So even some of the modern coils, and I'm not saying where they come from, I'm not saying anything like that whatsoever, but some of the modern coils um, may be modern in the manufacturer's eyes, but not in the eyes of all reality. I suppose, I don't know. You know, the AI is not dumb. It can give wrong answers on stuff, but I tell you right now, on the coil front, it gave correct answers. Everything, all even to do with the resistance of the graphite paint and everything and how it interacts. Went into great detail about dielectrics, wire spacings, basically everything I've said before, I think. Yeah, and basically along the lines of, capacitance is your enemy for fast decaying signals. The whole structure of a lot of coils out there are completely wrong for small signal, um, you know, detection, because the things die off and that's it. Even some of the ways the coils are done inhibit rapid discharge of the flyback pulse, and if it's too far back and it's a fixed ratio, it can induce noise, and there's other mechanisms that can induce noise as well, even through ground interaction, and it's a lot of stuff. And you think your little Faraday shields, just like an afterthought, let's make it, whatever, 80 ohms an inch, 100 ohms an inch, or something like that. I've seen some out there that on some of the small coils on VLFs, that the Faraday shields are about 1,000 ohms per inch, and it's there's a lot more to it than just ohmage. By the way, there's lots of things to do it, and if you do study it, I want a lot more people to make their own coils, because there's a lot to be gained in getting an old coil shell and ripping it to bits nicely so you can put it back together without cutting your hand open or anything like that. You've got to be careful, because it's like trying to get them apart. There's so much that can be gained from doing your own coils. You can actually, if you really want to, you can. No, I'm going to say too much. You can make your own. Whatever, mate. Just make your own. But yeah, there's a lot of coils out there. There's some coils that I would have thought. This is what I've been shown just by picture, that were probably new enough that they should not have been made out of tin plated wire, They should have been Litzwire type coils. And yeah, well, what's out there is what's out there. But some of the stuff that I don't go rip every coil apart I've got because it causes a lot of work. But I've done some. The one I did the other day too, by the way, the little elliptical I ripped the guts out of and I redid it. There's actually I actually had a thought about that, and something in there I could greatly improve, and yeah, I should. I'm going to redo it. It'll actually give it probably another maybe 5% performance, and it'll. The thing is too, I'll tell you right now, the way the Faraday shields are done in the coils really does have a play on ground balance. We'll put it this way. It may sound weird, but if you had a coil and you got to pump the living bejesus out of it to get it to ground balance, you're saying, oh, is it the detector? What is it? And it's going, it's really slow and hard. And this fellow I'm talking about, he lives down Geelong way. We'll leave it there. He has given me a bit of a write-up about his rebuild, and he said instead of being a whole heap of pumps trying to ground balance it, basically ground balances in 3 pumps. So there's a lot of die-off in some of these old existing coils. I don't know if they're even old. Oh, well, anyway, whatever. I just don't want to. If I just go and blanket say all commercial coils are crap, well, I'm going to get Target. I'm going to have Target on my back. I'm going to be the worst person in the universe. It's going to be hearsay and chatter everywhere, and I'm going to be bad mouthed and hit over the head with a shovel and all sorts of things, right? So I'm not going to say that. There's a lot of the commercial coils are perfectly fine, but some are not, right? Some are not. Some are, some are not. There's various manufacturers, even manufacturers overseas, from various countries. I'm not going to mention any names, but I've seen some coils that were made here that when I pulled it apart, I burst out laughing. I couldn't even believe you could do that with a coil and it would actually sort of work. Not saying any names, but I'll just say Kermit the Frog. But anyway, yeah. Well, no, I'm not going to. It's a long time ago, and they don't make coils anymore. But I think they probably know that I'm talking about them. Have a laugh because it was funny at the time. It was like you know what it was like. I'll tell you what it was like. It's like opening up one of their coils, right? It was like putting your hand in a lucky dip. You didn't know what you're going to get. But I'm not going to say what was in the coils. I was really amazed. Oh, shit. I'm just thinking of. No, I'm going to say it. I'm not joking. I'm going to say it. But I pulled one of these coils apart, and a spring fell. Sorry, but it did. There was a spring in the coil, and to this day I have no idea why there was a spring in the coil. But you know what the worst thing was? I opened up another one. There was another spring. Sorry, but you don't put metal objects inside coils, especially if it is a coil. Oh no, because if you go over a coil like spring, sorry, if you go over it, it's going to sound off. Ah, dear. I'm pretty sure I could say that because it's no longer in commercial production. But it was it tickled my funny bone. I didn't say any names, so your secret's safe with me for a while until someone asks me in person. I might tell them, but I'm not going to broadcast it. But it's funny. It is funny. And I'll tell you the other one too, right? I've got to do this. This is funny. Now I've got to get some of these things to show you what they are. I've got to go over here and hopefully, oh, here we are. I've got some of these, right? You're gonna laugh, and I'm just going to point out some absolute facts, right? These are facts. Do you know what these things are? Right? No, it's not an air vent, mini air vent for an ant's toilet or anything like that. This is a Gore-Tex valve, okay? And I've got a few of these. I just bought them for fun. Because what they have, they've got a little, they're like, you can blow through them, okay? So it vents to the atmosphere. But if moisture gets in here, all right, Gore-Tex completely blocks up and it won't let the moisture through the membrane, okay? That's how these things work. In there, it's all hermetically sealed, but there's a little white piece of membrane in there. And if basically they screw these into coils or anything, it's meant to be airtight, right? And what happens if you have a temperature differential, like if you've got a really hot coil and you dunk it in a puddle, what's going to happen is the air temperature inside is going to collapse and it's going to cause a negative pressure, and the outside air is going to say, I want to get in there. And, if it can't get air, the water's going to go in, right? If it's got a hole. So these are meant to stop it, right? So great idea in theory, right? And I'll say in theory because I'm going to tell you what happens. A lot of these ABS coils, even injection molded ones that are then glued together, and I've said this before, even if they have a quarter of a pinhole through it, right? Tiny hole anywhere, just a bit of glue missing, ABS, didn't connect properly or whatever. Because every coil I've opened up, don't ask me why, it looks like on the carbon or graphite painted cardboard, it's all rippled, it's all water damaged. It's had water in there and it's got into the paper and it's all gone like this. And you get a noisy coil because every time it flexes on the bottom, it goes, whoa. So you know damn well that there's something amiss. So what happens? This is just pointing out fact, right? So you drill this, tap it, stick it on your coil. So, it looks like an ant toilet vent cap or something. And what actually happens is that, great, you dunk your coil, this thing gets water in it, and it goes, it won't suck any water in. Great. But what if there's a pinhole anywhere else in the coil? What do you think happens? Oh, I don't know. So, yeah, it does. It's sort of like, how about you just seal the coil 100% properly in the first place? But it is a way to even out air pressure. You know, uh, cold coil, hot coil, but does it protect it from dunking it? I and I've said this. Someone's asking about it, and I did say about waterproof coils. Unless the whole coil is completely potted in something like eraldite or not eraldite because it's the horrible dielectric constant of eraldite, probably, dielectric constant of, a brick uh, or worse. But there is RF, radio frequency use epoxies that you can use, and they're a very low dielectric constant and they're damn expensive. And you would have to be a multimillionaire to be able to make a coil from them. It's worth a fortune. And you could pot your coil in something like that, if you want to be a perfectionist, and you could dunk it because there's no way water's going to go through resin, right? But an air fluffy coil with core flute or surfboard foam or insulation foam or polystyrene even. It's all air gapped, and you're just going to get a pressure drop. Then it's going to want to suck in. So over time, you bang the coil and, whatever. Eventually, it'll probably get micro fractures in it anyway. And you go dunking in the puddle, it'll go, and it'll have a drink, and your coil won't work. I'll tell you right, I'll actually tell you this right now. I went out with a fellow once. This is years ago, and I'm trying to remember, it was so long ago. It was a 3500. This is going back to 2009, I think, roughly 2008, 2009, and we had a standard coil, like a GP series coil on the detector, and the guy I was with, I think this was his first detector. He bought it secondhand, and we're going. Where were we? I think, I know where we were. We're in the vicinity of where the Hand of Faith was found. That's right. So we're around that area, and we're going along, and there was people had been in there and had a prospecting lease, and they dozed it out, and they filled it all back up as such, but it still had lots of divots. It was all full of water, and he thought he'd be really clever and detecting the holes that were left full of water. And I'm not joking, right? This is fair dinkum right in front of my face. He got the coil and he just pushed it in, right? And within 10 seconds, the detector went completely crazy. Like sticking your coil in the power lines in mono mode full gain or something. It was da 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 da, like this, carrying on like a pork chop, and it wouldn't stop. And I'm going, oh god, the detector's died or something. I had no idea that. Well, that was the end of the detector. We only had one coil, one detector, because I just went out with him, and I was going to, carry the pick and give it a scrape. But what actually happened is that detector coil, it sucked in the water because I put another coil on it when I took it home. I was going to fix it, and I put another coil on it, and it worked fine. I went, huh? And I opened up the coil, and it completely drenched the insides of it. It was just soaked up, and all the bottom paper was like this rather than flat. It was stuffed. It didn't work. So yeah, dried him out, and I cut another piece of cardboard, painted it with some that stuff up there, similar, and put it back together and sealed it properly. And I think I rubbed a bit of silicon around the outside of it so it wouldn't happen again. So yeah, don't get water in your coils, guys. And yeah, sort of air vent protection. If you dunk your coil, is another thing. Obviously, that will stop sucking water, but any other crack, fracture, or any little tiny pinhole anywhere, it'll just suck it in. So, and the trouble with water too, when you have a sealed coil and it gets in, you don't want to come out the pinhole, right? It just won't come out unless you hold it upside down, have the pinhole on the bottom, right, and then hit it with a hairdryer so you increase the pressure inside that wants to squirt the water out, which it will do, possibly, if it hasn't been soaked up by all the material in the coil that wants to soak up water. Then a wet coil doesn't work. It really gets in the windings. Water gets in your windings, it'll kill it dead. It will not work. Your detector will probably turn on and go, won't make it any other noise. So it just depends how much water gets in it. But on the shielding that gets in, it just goes completely bonkers and yeah, goes crazy. Anyway, it's enough waffle on that. I hope that was a little bit interesting. So yeah, detectors and dates and hearsay and edited stories and all sorts of things. Yeah, a lot of the stuff I know is true because it's you know, I got it from you know, basically we could just say more or less the person who wrote the story, sort of thing. So yeah, I just think it's interesting. And the funny thing was, what did he win? He did. He won. He said he won a Coil for writing that story, and he uses pulse induction detectors, and they gave him a Coil for an Equinox. So, well, that's how that cookie crumbles. So now they know who I'm talking about. But anyway, it's all good fun, isn't it? Really. But yeah, I know with affiliations between companies, they're not going to go and advertise, perceived public enemy number one, or how dare you, make our detectors better. We can't sell as many new ones. You're taking away the shareholders' profits, and then the management can't fuel their BMWs and Mercedes, or something of that nature, isn't it? I don't know. Um, it is what it is. Um, I could say something like this. Well, Minelab, how dare you make such good detectors? You know, Nocta's got to survive. You know, stop making good detectors. Same thing. It's all commercialism, and what it is what it is. Yep, quite funny. But I remember. I'm not going to go there because I've got too many stories, and I'll talk for hours. Right, especially in this industry. There's so many things, just so many over so many years. So it is quite amusing, as you might tend to agree with me. Some of it is amusing, but I'll leave it there. Um, like, any questions or comments? Leave the comments. I answer them all. You probably notice I answer every question. If it's intelligent or stupid, I'll still answer it. I don't care. Some people, if you're a concreter, you're not going to know all about electronics. Not normally anyway, or you could do if you do it as a hobby. And you want to know something, yeah, sure, I'll tell you. What I know. If you want to tell me how I can do concreting as a reciprocal, no problem. I had a guy around today who does rendering. What a handy fellow to know, because I was asking him questions about rendering, and he's given me the spiel on rendering. So, all good. Catch us later.